catfish the world, really. Eczema is my right hand woman. Hey guys, welcome back to Kriss Beauty. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christina. Some of you call me Kriss, others Tina. Whatever you prefer, girl, that's fine with me. In today's video, I'm super excited because I'm going to be showing you how to perfect your base makeup, specifically how to contour, chisel the face, snatcheroo your entire existence. I'm really excited about this because I love like cream contour. I love any type of contour. I just love completely transforming and looking like a complete like catfish. And I'm just excited to share with you my tips on how to, catfish the world, really. So if you're not already subscribed to Kriss Beauty, go ahead and do so. Turn on your bell notifications because I know you want to come back. I know you want to get the tea. Let's go. And yeah, turn on your bell notifications and let's get started. Alright y'all, so I am like complete bare face today. I have a little bit of Vaseline like under my eyes and stuff just because I want to like make sure I have a little bit of moisture before we go in with the moisture. I have not started to like moisturize my face because I really want to show you guys like all the complete full steps that I take. Now, just a disclaimer, I have super dry skin. If you're new to my channel, you don't know that eczema is my right hand woman. So if you have oily combination skin, you may want to skip some of these steps or maybe search up something that is fitting for your skin type because I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. But I'm going to be doing something, I'm going to be taking steps today that cater to my skin. So if you have dry skin, girl, welcome. So I am going to start off with moisturizing my face. And yeah, we're gonna moisturize, we're gonna prime, we're gonna do all that good stuff. So I'm gonna start off with Nivea. Nivea has never failed me. Clearly, like I've had this for a while. If you guys have any like recommendations for like some good moisturizers, please let me know because I'm always looking for a very super hydrating moisturizer. So I'm gonna start off with like this much. This is probably like way too much, but I'm gonna start off with this much. Please don't mind like I have like a cyst on my face. Like, I don't know what's going on. The eczema. Oh god, it's super painful. Okay, so I really tend to moisturize around like my eye area. I moisturize around my nose, my forehead, pretty much everywhere, but there are specific spots on my face that's just like extra like quenched. Wait, no, not quenched, just extra thirsty, if you may. So that's usually like around here, like the places where I'm like cracking first. That's just where I show like a little bit more TLC. All right, make sure to get the neck behind the ears. I just have to mention, first and foremost, make sure that your face is cleansed. Go in with whatever like cleanser that you like to use, some micellar water as well. Makeup wipes are like a hit and miss. A lot of people just don't prefer that. Make sure your face is cleansed first and foremost. That's absolutely first and foremost. I shouldn't have to mention it, but if you're new, if you just like don't know a lot about makeup, then make sure your face is cleansed before you moisturize. Also, a really good tip that I like to use that I'll cover in another video is making sure that your face is, I guess you can say, shaved. That's the only like word I could think of, just because it gives you like a more clean canvas and you just want to make sure that your foundation and everything is going on really nice, very smoothly. So I recommend taking a little bit of like this, what would this be called? This is a little face shaver. I don't know. People call it like a dermaplaning, but I've been doing this since I was like 11 with my brows. So I use this. I got this from Walmart. They come like in a pack of 3. You get it on Amazon. I'll link it down below. But this, you want to make sure that you are, just shaving the canvas, making sure you have a completely smooth and clean canvas. You can catch your eyebrows as well, do what you gotta do, but just make sure everything is nice and completely smooth. I probably could have, shaved the face a little extra today, but we're not looking too bad. So let's continue. So at this point, I like to apply, I do a lot of moisturizing throughout my whole entire like foundation routine. So I like to apply like a primer water or some sort of hydrating mist. So I'm going to apply the Wet n Wild Cucumber 3-in-1 primer water. And this is not to be confused with like the primer that you're going to use on your face. I just like to have something a little extra. This one smells like super clean, super fresh. and it's super affordable. You can get this at Walmart, Amazon. I ordered this from Amazon actually, and I also like the rose water one. All right, so we're gonna let that sit. All right, y'all, so I zoomed you guys on in because I need you guys to really see what's happening here. So just to speak about a little bit about my foundation routine, it was inspired by Scott Barnes originally, and I had done a video like this like maybe at the beginning of the year, just like an updated like foundation routine. My foundation routine, it changes pretty frequently, but I would say like for the last 6 months it has stayed like, it has stood in the same like realm of like techniques. So this is why I wanted to show you guys today what I do specifically. It was inspired by Scott Barnes, who is a famous makeup artist for J.Lo, if you didn't know. But I would say that my tutorial is just a little bit different, and I'm going to show you how. For primer today, I'm going to take the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer. I have not used this in a minute, but I had to like go through like my stash and pick out like random products because I have been using the same stuff over and over and over again. So I said, you know what? Let me go back to this. This is a really good primer, especially for the luminosity of the face. They have the regular putty primer, which I used to use in some areas, but again, I'm more of like a dry type of girl, so I would prefer something like this. I'm gonna take some, and again, I'm just gonna apply this pretty much everywhere, but specifically the places where I tend to dry up just a little bit more. All right, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like healthy, you know what I mean? All right, so let's get like actually into the products. I'm excited. All right, so my foundation routine, contour routine, whatever you want to call it. First of all, I do cream contour, but I cream contour before I put on foundation, and I kind of work it in with the foundation, so it's a little bit different than your average like foundation, concealer, then cream contour. I'm just addicted to this way, and I hope I can, you know, make you addicted as well. So I'm gonna start off with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is the satin finish. I recently picked this up. This is in the shade Rich Chocolate. I cream contour with like different products, but I decided to pick this shade up because I'm obsessed with e.l.f.'s Hydrating Camo Concealers. So I said, you know what, let's try this. So the primer's been sitting for a minute. Everything looks really good, really hydrated. I'm going to begin cream contour. Now you want to get a shade that is definitely 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin tone. This one is probably a little bit too rich for me, but as always, we make it work. And just a disclaimer, this specific product, a little does go a very long way. If you're looking for a full coverage moment, this tutorial is for you. So I'm gonna start off with contouring here. Now, usually people like to contour right where your cheekbone ends. I personally like to go a little bit above, and then we're gonna go here. And I don't bring it in too much because, like I said, this product a little does go a very, very, very long way. So it's gonna come in eventually. Now for the jaw, this is where the magic happens. For the jaw, I personally like to shape my jaw. Now this is something I used to do more often, way more frequently. Like I could not leave the house if I did not like chisel the jaw because my double chin was working overtime. Now that I've lost the weight and all that stuff, I still have a double chin, so I definitely still like to do this as an extra step. So what I like to do is I like to start pretty, I would say at the end of the ear, and then shape. Now you can go a little bit above right here, but I personally like to put it right here. And you can catch some of the chin, not too much. And again, this is more so for a super full coverage moment. Like you have, you know, a date night, or you're ready to go out, you know, be a complete tatone and be like, I mean, completely glam. Like this is the type of contour that you want to do. And I like to take it a little around the lips because this kind of creates that pouty effect. Not too much though. And then for the nose, I feel like the nose is a completely like separate like contour video, so I'm just gonna show you what I do. But if you guys want a complete in-depth tutorial on how I snatch this nose, because I have been perfecting it like crazy lately, please let me know down in the comments. But what I personally like to do is take it in the brow And again, I'm trying to go light with this because this is just really, this is very like super pigmented. Now, a lot of people just don't like to do cream contour because they feel like, you know, what's the point? It's just a little too extra, it's a little bit too much, like it's just doing too much. And they just prefer to like do the foundation and then just bronze. And I definitely used to be one of those people that was just like, cream contour is just not, it's not worth the time. But like doing this technique really truly, like, it makes a difference. And you're definitely gonna see, and I definitely want to do a separate video of how much of a difference this makes, but it does make a difference. Usually cream contour kind of gets lost when you do foundation first. So this is personally like, I like to do it like this. All right, so for foundation today, I am gonna take the e.l.f. Camo CC cream. I used this in my last video. If you guys have not checked out this review, y'all go ahead and check it out. But I'm using the shade Light 240W. But before we actually apply the foundation, I'm actually going to buff out this cream contour with the Colourpop F15 brush. This is a nice like flat top kabuki brush. I'm just going to buff this out first. So I like to use like stippling motions and really pat it in. I don't necessarily like to drag, maybe a little bit, but I just like to pat because I feel like that gets like the most coverage. This looks really orange, but it's okay. And I even bring it into like the eye just a little bit. And the whole point of like cream contour or just contour in general is just to create an illusion of shadow. So I bring this all the way in. And remember to go into the hairline. I don't care if you just got your hair done. I don't care, okay? Because you have to make sure that things are looking like effortless, you know? You don't want any harsh lines. So get into that hairline, into that 5 head, really go in. And this is another reason why I don't do my brows first, because I really like to buff like product into my brow, into the temple. And if you notice, I put the cream contour pretty closely like down to like the middle of my forehead. At this point, I'm gonna buff out this chin and the jawline. You definitely want to make sure that you're taking it behind the neck. I know it seems like the most, but bringing it into the ear and behind the neck, it really does help things like look way more seamless. Okay, and just a little note, at this point it may seem like your contour is just like way too much and you're like, oh my god, like I applied way too much product. But remember, we have not applied foundation yet, so do not get discouraged. Do not feel like you messed up at all. Even at times I like do it way too much with the cream contour, so just hold on and trust the process. Okay, so I'm doing buffing circular motions. It's kind of hard to talk in this position because everything sounds really shaky. You want to bring this down to the neck. You see how it kind of like already created the illusion that we are not eating late at night the way we really are? You see that? That's what we want. So you're gonna leave the nose contour alone. Definitely do not touch it like at all. And then you definitely want to bring this into the hairline closer to like the top of your ear. You see this angle right here? This is what we want. So you want to bring it up. You don't want to smudge down. That is a huge hell to the no. Do not smudge it down. You want to just stay in this area right here. Even if it comes close, this is fine. And again, you don't want to diffuse it too much. Keep it like this because foundation is going to go over this. And we're just going to rough this lip contour out a little bit. So even if you see like that the lines are not perfect, or maybe you went a little bit too far down, I'm telling you, do not worry at this point. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna take the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Again, I'm in the shade 240W, light 240W. And I took a full pump, again, because I'm a full coverage hoe. So this is my moment. This foundation, go ahead and check my last tutorial, but this foundation is stunning. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna essentially fill in the blanks. I don't like to put too much foundation here because I like my forehead to look a little bit more tan, but we just fill in the blanks. And at this point, I am not buffing anything out. I'm just placing exactly where I want everything to go. So that was that. Now, before we actually start to buff out, I like to take the Photo Focus Cucumber Primer, water, whatever. I like to take this product once again and just spray. I feel like hydration before and between and after your routine is so freaking important. Like, so important. All right, y'all. So you can feel more than welcome to like take the F15 or any kabuki brush. If brushes is something that like really like if it's something that you gravitate to, go ahead and use a brush. I personally like to take a sponge, so I'm gonna take a highly saturated and like wet, I mean it's not soaking, but it's this is a damp beauty sponge from e.l.f. So at this point we're going to begin to buff out this foundation. Okay, I started under my eyes and I like to go upwards, and this is exactly why I like to buff out the cream contour first, because if it's sitting there and it's wet on your face, you're gonna keep on bumping it by accident, trust me. I mean, especially if you're like me, I'm a mess when it comes to like things like this. Okay, so as you can see, it blended in really nicely, but it didn't completely take away the contour moment. Just a little bit of a pointer, you don't want to take the foundation and start patting it in everywhere. You want to make sure that you are definitely like going along the contour lines and buffing things out, you know, according to where you placed everything. Okay, sometimes when you go over your foundation, you kind of feel like you did like lose the contour just a little bit. I personally like to have my contour just a little extra sharp. So I am going to take a little bit more of the e.l.f. Cream contour situation. And I'm just going to like take the very like smallest amounts. Okay, and just to let you know, this is not like a step that you need to do at all. Like, you can definitely like keep your cream contour exactly how it was. This is just personal preference for me. I just like a little extra oomph, and of course right now it looks a little bit much, but this is the point when we start to add some concealer under the eyes and everything starts to blend together. All right, you guys, so you notice I still have not touched the nose contour. It's for a reason. Trust the process, like I said. I'm going to take the hydrating Camo concealers in the shade Light Beige and Fair Beige. I mentioned these concealers in every single video because I love them so much. But not only that, it's because they're super hydrating, super creamy, super full coverage. I take a shade that is pretty much my skin tone color, which is Light Beige, and then Fair Beige is like a shade lighter than me, a little bit more on the pink side, and the two of them together are golden. So I'm gonna take Fair Beige first, and I like to put that right in the inner corner of the eyes, under the eyes, and up here. I'm taking very little because it's a lot. I take very little on my forehead as well, a little on the chin, and here. Now I take the concealer that is more of my skin tone shade, and I put this right under. And if you feel like you went a little bit too much like with the cream contour, you can definitely like use this to clean up very little. All right, y'all, this is what we looking like. I look like a full piece of art in the museum. I know, it's a lot. I am going to take my spray. So if you want your concealer to be like even more full coverage than this concealer already is, you can let it sit. However, if you have dry skin, do not let this sit for too long. This concealer in particular it is movable. It's definitely like not gonna like stick and dry down fully. It's not gonna do that. But I'm just saying in general, if you want to build up the coverage of your foundation, a good tip to do is let it sit for a good like minute. While you're letting it sit, you can definitely get your setting powder ready. I'm using the air spun. It's just my favorite personally. I'm gonna take my damp sponge now and I'm gonna begin to blend. I personally like to blend like my under eyes at the very like end. Now I'm going to begin blending down and then up. And this sort of help creates like this very like snatched effect. It's just, I'm addicted to this technique. This is a great step to incorporate, especially if you kind of like, you see that your foundation is not really like, you know, doing too much for you here. Concealer is a great way to like fill in those like spots. Okay, I didn't fully blend like my inner corner just yet. At this point, we have to get the nose together. This is the most exciting part of my entire existence, honestly. So for the nose contour, you can take any small brush that you like. I like to take something close to like a pencil brush or even a concealer brush, and this part is going to look a little bit much, but bear with me. So I'm going to take the Morphe M166. This is a flat concealer brush. It's a little bit thicker than like your average concealer brush, and I like to bring this contour into the brows. I like to use my hand to sort of wipe off any extra product I don't need. Okay, I'm going to take the tiniest amount of concealer and sort of fill in the blanks a little bit. All right, I'm going to switch over to the Morphe M433 brush. This is more of a fluffy brush, and this is going to help diffuse everything a little bit more. Alright you guys, so the nose is completely buffed out. At this point, I am going to take my damp sponge and just make sure everything is completely like buffed out, that there's no creases before we set under the eyes and the whole entire face. So now I'm going to take a dry blender sponge. This is part of the e.l.f. duo sponge set. So I'm going to take a dry one, and this is the dry one's going to be the one that I use for setting powder. So I have my air spun on my sponge. I'm going to set that down. I'm going to buff this out right before I go in to set it. And this is just going to help create a creaseless, completely creaseless under eye. I'm looking up to avoid any creases. I'm going to take my air spun, tap it off, and then set. Okay, so I make sure I catch the sides of the nose. I don't necessarily bake, but at this point I'm going to set the rest of the face with my dry sponge that has the setting powder on it. And you guys, do not be afraid to set your face. Like, even if you have dry skin, I feel like as long as you moisturize beforehand and during the whole process, do not be afraid to set your face. Because if you feel like your bronzer is all over the place and patchy and just picking up on your dry skin and doing all that good stuff, I feel strongly that it has to do with, first of all, how much you're moisturizing your face. Because if you're not moisturizing, you don't have a good base. But also because, like, we tend as dry skin, like, individuals, we tend to be very afraid to set the face, especially with baking. I personally don't bake, but if I need to like lay my setting powder down for a second to let it rest, do not be afraid of that. Do not be afraid of it, trust me. So set your face with your sponge for sure. I used to set it with a brush, and it really, like, it just picked up a lot on my bronzer, especially my forehead. I was just always, I don't know, like my bronzer just always, you know, stuck to my skin because it was partially still wet. So definitely set your face makeup with a sponge. The only area that I am careful about is my nose. I like to take whatever excess powder that I have on my sponge and then set my nose, because my nose is the place that you can tell she's like super dry. All right, you guys, so you would think at this point we are done, like we're ready, right? We're done. No, we look like Casper. We need to bring some color back into the face. I know that seems like sort of like it doesn't make sense, but trust me, it does. So what I am going to do is apply some bronzer to the face and some blush, and you know, just really bring the color back in. So for today, I'm gonna use like one of my favorites, like my absolute favorite. I'm gonna use the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 200. It is so good. It's not like too warm, it's not too orange. I love it, love it, love it. I personally like to take an angled fluffy brush. By the way, you guys, I cleaned all my brushes and I feel like a brand new like person. I'm very, very impressed with my progress. But anywho, I'm gonna take this shade and I like to start off with an angled brush first. Always tap off the excess, and I like to sort of start at this point stamping in the bronzer, and we're going right along where we put that cream contour. We can see it a little bit still, but it is definitely more diffused because of the setting powder. We're just stamping. Okay, and if you want to take a little bit more like I do, you're just gonna take a little more. Oh yes, and then you can begin to really buff this in. Remember to catch your hairline. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? Oh my god. Catch the chin. We're gonna go in the same direction that we placed down that cream contour behind the neck. Okay, and we are going to bronze up the forehead. I'm going in circular motions down and around the temple area. Okay, we're going to contour the nose. Alright guys, we contour the nose, and just to chisel out the nose a little bit, I like to take a powder that is my skin tone color and mix it in with some of my Airspun. I don't necessarily like to bake around the nose, but I like to let it sit for like maybe like a minute. So I'm gonna take the Super Stay Full Coverage 16-hour powder foundation of Maybelline. This is in the shade 220, and let's see. And I like to pair that with an angled brush, pretty much like the brush that we use to like bronze our face for like in a baby you know, a baby version. So I'm gonna take some of that and I'm going to pat this down the side of the contour just to clean it up a little bit. Okay, while that is sitting, I'm going to just go over like the contour that I placed around my lips with some powder bronzer. Alright, I'm gonna take some Airspun and go right over this powder foundation that I put down on my nose. Okay, I'm taking some powder foundation and just cleaning this up. I'm even placing some right under the eye. This is just gonna add a little bit more coverage. Alright, I'm gonna wipe away the situation. Okay, so for blush, I am going to be using the SheGlam Beauty Blush Palette in the shade 02 Coral. This is what it looks like. It's so cute. And then I like to take like a nice domey, like fluffy brush like this. I'm going to add some blush. I like to place blush like right here, not too close over here, but just here, and then angle it up. Oh yes, this looks so good. You can even add some to the nose. It's just like personal preference though. I know the nose still looks a little harsh, but once we spray down the face and everything like that and buff everything in, everything's gonna like really melt in together. So I want to highlight at this point. For highlight, I'm gonna take the e.l.f. Duo palette. This one is in the shade White Peach. I love, love, love the highlights that come with this. This one might be a little bit too dark, but you know what? I'm gonna use it. I like to use a very thick fan brush like this. This one is from Doe Color. I'm not sure. I'm gonna link everything down below. So I like to take this shade And I used to like super blinding highlights, but like sometimes, you know, a little subtle highlight is better. It just depends on the look. I personally like to like highlight the forehead. A lot of people don't, but like I just like that extra sheen. And down the nose. Okay, for a little extra like pizzazz, I'm gonna add this highlight from Shein. This is the Face Shimmering Powder. This is in the shade Mermaid 04. It's like a nice pink reflect sort of champagne. This is just what mama needs. And just for the purposes of this video, I highlighted before I like did my brows and my eyes and things like that. But usually I highlight at the very end. It's just a thing, you know, it's just a thing that I do. I have no idea why. But at this point, just to finish up the face makeup, I'm going to apply the Wet n Wild Cucumber Primer Water. This is not the last time I'm gonna use this. I just like to do it specifically like after we powder because it kind of helps melt everything together. I really saturated the face and I kind of like to let that dry for a second. Okay, and I'm gonna take my sponge and I'm going to pat everything down, and this just really like, this is a great step to help everything melt together, especially if you feel like you went a little bit overboard on the blush or the bronzer. This is like your time, like your moment to like just really help diffuse things. I mean, honestly, this step is like, it's just so necessary because it really just helps everything melt together. Like, I mean, the face, my face has not looked this good in like weeks. All right, y'all, so let me go off of camera real quick and I'm gonna finish up the eyes and then we'll be back to discuss. All right, you guys, and this is the final look. I just put some lashes on, just a little color in the inner corner. I just re-blushed the face, re-highlighted, you know, just got everything all together, some gloss, some liner. But overall, you guys, I hope you liked today's look. It was super fun doing my foundation / contour routine. I hope it was super helpful. Just a couple of last minute tips if you didn't watch everything full through. Make sure that you guys are moisturizing. Primer is not always necessary, but it does help with, well, the right primer does help with making sure that things stick. But is it super necessary? No. Hydrating, especially if you have dry skin like me, hydrating in the beginning, middle, and end is super key. I literally cannot stress it enough. Making sure that you have the right foundation for your skin type is so important. Like, so freaking important. You definitely do not need anything high-end, super expensive in order to achieve this look. I use pretty much all drugstore, I believe. I mean, I am bougie and balling on a budget. So, and just definitely remember that everything is trial and error. A lot of the times we pick up techniques and we feel like it doesn't work for us, but just continue to do what works for you. Everything that I showed you guys in today's video may or may not work for you, but if it does, if you decide to try it out, go ahead and let me know down below. If you decided to use my technique, please tag me on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever it is. As always, what I use on and off of camera will be linked down in the description. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.